Um, so I am just going to get us started because I think we're ready to go, and then hopefully we'll have some more attendees joining us in a little bit. I see we have one so far. My name is Morgan. I'm one of the 3 orientation coordinators, along with Jackson Ullman, who's going to be hanging out in the chat during this webinar to answer any questions that people might have. And to just sort of monitor what's going on there. So if you have questions about clubs or anything we talk about in general, as an attendee, you can throw those in there. And I'll repeat that again when we have more people join. But yeah, I'm Morgan. I use she, her, hers. I'm a rising senior. I'm one of the 3 orientation coordinators, which means I'm in charge of helping the staff in the Office of Student Leadership and Engagement plan new student orientation. And this is one of a number of panels that we're doing on just sort of campus community at Macalester, what it's like to be involved, what it's like to join clubs, join volunteer organizations, what it's like to just to live a student in day-to-day life, live as a student in day-to-day life. And so today we have an awesome panel of people who are really active in a number of different clubs across campus and who represent a vast majority of the different interests. And we'll have another student org leaders panel in August. So get excited for that one as well. And like all the other videos we've been doing, this will be recorded and then captioned and posted. So there will be lots of opportunities, even if you aren't watching it live right now, to catch up on the information later. So I think I will start it off by, I have here Corey going first. So I think I'll throw it to Corey to start us off. And Corey, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and about your club?
Sounds good. Well, Morgan, you would know about this club. Hi, my name is Corey. I'm going to be a rising senior next year, or this coming year in the fall. I'm an environmental studies and media studies major. I use he, him, his, and I am the media editor of the Mac Weekly, which is Macalester's student newspaper. Mac Weekly is an entirely student-run and student-driven publication. We're entirely independent from the college, and we're one of the major clubs on campus. So I'll start with just talking a little bit about what the org is and what it's about. Like I said, we're a student newspaper, which means that we try to provide students, faculty, and staff with, and our alumni network, our parents, our broader community about the major events that have to do with Macalester, and really important info for the campus community, which it's honestly a really important time to be doing that right now. And I feel like some of the work that we've been doing, our news team, the reporting that they've been doing has been some of the most critical work that's been happening in possibly a while. With the coronavirus happening right now, it's more important than ever that everybody is up to date on what exactly is happening with the college. And the administration has been consistently announcing information, but it's also been difficult to keep up. So I think I personally am really grateful for the news team and their reporting on these issues and the rapid developments happening with the on-campus and off-campus situation. So at the paper, there are a number of different sections. There's the news section, there's the arts section, there's the features section, there's opinion, there's photos, and there's media. Each of those sections have 1 or more editors, so the person who oversees the section and the staff who works for that section. Mostly if you join the paper, you'll be working for one section and you won't be working in others, although it's totally up to you, and we're more than happy to have you sort of spilling over into other sections if there's a lot of stuff that you're interested in. I think most people start out working for a couple different sections and then honing in on the one that they're most interested in, and then probably eventually becoming a leader in some capacity of that section. So like I said, we have news, arts, features, opinions, photos, and media. News section is going to be the one that's doing most of the sort of fast-paced reporting on current events. Arts does stories about student work, about faculty work, about the local art scene here in the Twin Cities. Features does more longer form pieces that are less timely, but more focused on just interesting people or interesting things happening around campus. Opinion is a little broader. To write an opinion article, you can pretty much be anyone. You don't have to be dedicated specifically to the paper or a writer for the paper. We'll accept opinions from almost anyone related to or on campus, especially if they're relevant to the current situation. And for photography and for media, it does help to come into those sections with some experience, but we're also more than happy to help teach you. We have a great photo editor. Her name is Celia, and I'm the media editor. And in terms of photos and media, most of what you do is going to accompany the articles, although there's a lot of room, especially in media, to expand on that. We do a podcast, we've done a video series, and we also are working on expanding our other multimedia sections, our multimedia stories. So I think bottom line, there's a lot of different opportunities here at the paper for you to try out and work with really skilled and talented people to learn specific skills, to work on stories about specific things that you're interested in, specific articles and projects. We have a lot of people on the paper. They work very closely together, and you won't, I think, have any trouble if this is something you're interested in. You won't have any trouble finding somebody to mentor you and to guide you through the process and to set you up and make you feel like you know how things work and what it does. And I want to talk a little bit about what it means to participate too. So generally we have a lot of in-person community. There's an office where most of the work happens every week because it's a weekly paper. So we put out a paper each week. It's usually a print issue, although this semester is most likely going to be different. So this semester, that's going to look a little different. As far as I know, we're planning on having weekly meetings based on section, and we'll probably be having virtual community building events too. This is all still a little bit up in the air. I think most groups are still planning what they're going to look like for the fall, but our goal is completely to continue publishing important information and doing strong reporting on events as they happen. And what it means to participate is that you work closely with editors on specific articles and projects. You report the article, you sign up for them, and then you work with your editor to fine tune them. And that'll mean interviewing people who are important to the story or who are related to the story. It'll mean transcribing those interviews. It'll mean writing out the articles. If you're working on a podcast or for photos, it'll mean going and taking photos, or it'll mean working on some kind of editorial illustration for those articles, or it'll mean working on something more specialized like a podcast or a video series, which I would be more than happy to help you with. Commitment is pretty variable based on your needs. This was kind of what drew me in the first place. Also, Morgan, sorry, if I run over time, just please let me know. But I was hesitant in the beginning to join the paper because it seemed like a lot of time, especially with my schedule and all of my classes. But it's really, what it comes down to is you take on a weekly commitment for the written sections. So what you're going to do is you're going to sign up to write an article. You're going to take it on, and once you sign up for that article, you really should meet that weekly deadline, which is a good experience. I think it's good to have that tight turnaround, and it's good to have that close relationship with editors to be able to work through that. But there's no pressure to take on articles every week. It's sort of the more regularly you do that kind of work, the more helpful it is for building your skills and building your clips and adding to your resume. But it's not something that's mandatory. And if you have a really heavy week in terms of coursework, which everybody does occasionally, it's not something that you have to do on an absolutely regular basis. And then this is also a great opportunity to just really practice your writing, meeting deadlines, collaborating, building interview skills, and understanding the college. I mean, basically what everyone who works at the paper does is they have this specific beat. They cover a specific group of people and a specific way that things operate. And so like it might feel like it's just a student paper, it's a little inconsequential, but it really is practice for many different life skills and many different professional skills that a lot of companies and organizations are looking for, whether or not you're looking to be a journalist. These are all really important things that it's not a bad idea to pick up and learn, and that I think for me personally has been really helpful in trying to figure out what I want to do, and also just trying to build the kinds of professional skills that I now feel hopefully that I've come close to acquiring. But I guess we'll see how that goes after college. But basically, I think there's a lot of opportunity to get work samples and get experience and really build on the kinds of things that you can show potential employers, that you can show potential people where you might be applying for an internship. You can show them this writing, this work, these projects that I've done that really would demonstrate what you're capable of doing. During the pandemic, things are going to be a little different, and like I said, we're not totally sure what that's going to mean, but what it's going to come down to is just remote meetings, probably a lot of remote reporting. Generally, a lot of the interviews take place in person. Now it's probably going to be a little more tricky to do that, but it'll be something that we'll work through along the way. And doing something like working for a newspaper is surprisingly something that is not completely unsuited to going remote in a lot of ways, especially at a place that's as small as Macalester. There's just a lot of room to get around that. So I think we're pretty well set up to do that. Specific activities and events are still kind of under construction, and we're currently assessing plans to continue printing a physical paper and whether or not that's actually going to happen. But rest assured, we publish online. We have a website that's really cool. So you will, under any circumstances this semester, be able to continue working with editors and be able to continue publishing your content. And just in terms of how you can get involved, I would reach out to the editor-in-chief or the editor of the specific section. You can reach out to macweekly.com, or sorry, you can reach out to, you can go to the macweekly.com, or you can reach out to macweekly@macalester.edu. You can also reach out to the editor of the specific sections that you're interested in, and they'll help you get started. In most cases, you can really join at any time, regardless of your class year or experience. It does help to have some experience with media or photography or writing, but we're also more than happy to help you learn.
Well, thank you so much, Corey. That's really awesome. It's no secret that I'm also on the Mac Weekly. So I have a totally biased but completely also objective endorsement of that staff and that group of people. We have a number of different ways to get involved, and it's a really awesome group of people. So I definitely will just sort of selfishly say that it's great. And I'm going to pass the baton now to Katie to talk about a totally different issue area of activities and clubs, but one that is equally, if not more popular on campus.
Yeah, hi guys, I'm Katie. I'm a rising junior, double majoring in religious studies and classical languages and concentrating in Middle Eastern and Islamic civilizations. But today I'm super excited to talk to you about a cappella on campus. So just like a general overview, there are 5 a cappella groups, I think. I honestly haven't thought about how many there are in a while. But each group sort of has their own little feature. So the group that I'm a part of is called Off Kilter, and we're known for being the vocal jazz and pop group on campus. We're an every gender a cappella group, all ages of people welcome at MAC. And so something that I really enjoy about Off Kilter is that everyone's pretty much an equal. We are sort of run with an experience-based leadership team. So the people who've been in the group longer kind of help run the practices, reserve the rooms, that sort of thing. But everyone is welcome to share their opinions, to have song suggestions, to ask if people want to go out for a group dinner, that sort of thing, which is really nice. So we sing songs a cappella, but also more than that, I would say we're definitely a really tight-knit community. What's really fun is that anyone can audition at any age. So that you can be a first year, or it can be your second semester, senior year, and you can still audition. And once you're sort of, if you're like in the group, you definitely become a group. And so, I would say that we don't really have like events per se, but we definitely have hangout sessions. We call them fun times, where maybe a Friday night we'll all get takeout and watch a movie or something like that. So there's definitely a sense of community building in the group. I guess some events we do have is sometimes campus life will ask us to perform. So this past year we sang, it was really cute. We surprised President Brian Rosenberg at the, I think, Board of Trustees meeting and sang a couple songs that he liked, that sort of stuff. So we have 2 concerts every year. They're normally at the end of the semester, And then sometimes all of the a cappella groups will get together and perform songs then. So during Family Fest, each a cappella group gets around 2 songs to sing, which is really fun to kind of all be together. What does it mean to participate in Off Kilter? So what's really nice, again, is that it's student-led, so it's basically student chosen. So we meet for around 3 hours a week, and at the beginning of the semester, when we know who's in the group, we will sort of send out a poll or have a big conversation about what times work for everyone. So that way, if you have a night class on Wednesdays, you don't need to switch classes or you won't not be able to participate in the group. We'll make sure that you can come to the rehearsals. I guess also I should talk about how you get into an a cappella group. So at the beginning of most semesters, we'll have auditions. And so there'll be posters around campus, posts on Facebook. Sometimes groups will say we're specifically looking for a beatboxer, or we're specifically looking for an alto or something like that. And that can kind of pique your interest and encourage you to audition. Also lots of word of mouth. Sometimes we'll, at least this past semester, I definitely embarrassed myself and stood up in the cafeteria and was like, hello, does anyone want to audition? So it's very, very chill, very, very chill. And then at auditions, you sing around 1 minute of a song of your choice. It can be a song you made up. It can be a really popular song, whatever you're comfortable with. We'll do some range checking, so some scales just to see what type of voice part you would be. And then after that, as a group, so like I said before, we sort of have auditions as everyone who's already been accepted into the group will help run auditions for the next semester. And so then we'll meet as a group to decide callbacks. And then at callbacks, we'll send you a song to learn ahead of time. And then we'll also have an impromptu song to just test people's skill. Speaking of skill, there's no skill required to join our audition for an a cappella group. In our group, we have people who are music majors and who have been in a cappella groups since they were in kindergarten, probably not kindergarten, maybe like 6th grade. But then we also have people who this is their first time ever singing in a group before. So definitely don't be intimidated by the fact that there are auditions. They're just really so we can get a feel of who you are and what you sound like. Yeah, so what does our org look like in the pandemic? Unfortunately, we were not able to have a concert this past semester, so we're not, I guess, really sure moving forward if we would have like a virtual concert, something like that. I guess, yeah, the general answer is we don't really know what we're gonna look like. I think we're waiting for more guidance from administration. Some a cappella groups are really big, but then our group is pretty small. It's between 10 to 12 people every semester. So I'm not sure if we fit inside the guidelines. I mean, September's kind of far away. So we may be able to meet in person, but also over this pandemic, we've recorded some stuff online where everyone records their own part and then we'll mash it together. So that also may be another option. Yeah, so I think that sort of covers a lot of what a cappella is on campus. I would definitely encourage you, if you mildly like singing or humming or beatboxing, to audition. If anything, an audition can just help you build confidence and help you feel more comfortable with yourself. So auditioning is always great, but then also if you're going to callbacks or if you're accepted into a group, they're really great communities on campus.
Thank you so much, Katie. That was awesome. And it's true, there's a wide breadth of different a cappella groups that sing in all sorts of different music areas or have, you know, different identities as a collective. And they're all pretty stinking talented. So it's cool to have that around campus for us mere mortals who cannot even begin to approach the idea of singing in front of other people and not just in the shower. So I'm going to pass it now to Maya, who is involved in one of our other campus publications, and that is Chanter, our literary magazine.
Yes. Hello, my name is Maya. I use she, her, hers. I am an international studies major, and I'm the editor-in-chief of Chanter. So Chanter is a completely student-run and student-organized literary magazine on campus. We are the oldest student publication, which is really great, has offered the opportunity to have a great history of community established at Macalester. A couple years ago, we had 60 Years of Chanter, which was kind of an anthology of different works from the past 60 years. And it also offered us the opportunity for an event where people who had participated in the past were able to come and able to read their work and able to reconnect. So it's really a great way to establish a sense of community among other creatives on campus. We publish once a semester. At the end of each semester, we have a printed publication, which we usually disseminate amongst the people of the community. We have copies in the library, we have copies in the campus center. We hand them out after they're printed. However, it's been a little different because of the pandemic. So we do have printed copies, but because so many people are off campus, at least last semester, we also have now a website. So chantermagazine.com, you should check it out. It has the past several years worth of publications, so you can kind of see kind of the work that's been published. We accept poetry, prose, and art. It's an anonymous submissions process, so if you're interested in submitting, you essentially email us your work that you're submitting, and then our submissions managers take your name off of it, and then email a packet of work to our staff. And we meet once a week, and so it's a very warm, very non-judgmental environment of people kind of just appreciating and discussing the work that their fellow students have done. So we read each piece, we discuss it, and then we vote on the pieces. And at the end of each semester, we have layout in which we put the magazine together. And it's a very professional, very official publication. It's a great opportunity for people to submit and have their work published by an official literary magazine. And so it's a great opportunity from that perspective if you're a writer or if you're an artist. And it's also a great opportunity if you're interested in editing or publishing to have the experience of working together as a team and putting all of these pieces together and kind of determining the order and determining the format. Yeah, it's a really great opportunity. I didn't have very much publishing experience coming into it, and it really taught me a lot. It taught me about working at Chanter, taught me about InDesign, which is a great tool if you're interested in going into publication, and it also did provide this community of artists and writers at Macalester and people who are interested in art and writing, because I very much am, but I'm not an English major and I'm not an art major, and so it provided this outlet in which I could appreciate and contribute to the writing and art community at Macalester. Things are looking a little different with the COVID situation. We usually do meet in person. We are transitioning now to Zoom meetings, and I believe the link was sent to our online website where you can both read a little bit more about Chanter and look at the work that we've published and kind of get a feel for the format and get a feel for kind of what it is we create at Chanter. It also, so our weekly meetings are attended by our staff. You can kind of come as you please. It isn't a particularly enforced sort of situation where you have to come every week. Like, we understand that people have things going on. You do have to come for a minimum of 5 times, and but if you want your name to be published in the magazine as a member of the staff. And yes, and after 1 semester of participation, you can apply to work on our board, which essentially involves, we have lots of different positions: literary editor, art editor, submissions managers, many different positions kind of tailored to your interests and how you want to further participate in Chanter, which would involve taking on some duties outside of the weekly meetings, but it's also a great way to get more involved and kind of take on some extra duties if Chanter is something you're really invested in and very interested in. Yeah, we also have usually a lot of great events. We have spaghetti dinners at the beginning of each semester where we can kind of get together and get to know each other since we'll all be working together for the rest of the semester. We also have layout meetings at the end of the semester, usually all day long, but very fun, we're working, but people bring snacks, we have lunch. It's very kind of a laid back work environment. And then we have our Release the Chanter meetings once our publication has been printed, which is at the end of each semester. People who have been published have the opportunity to come and read their work in the Weyerhaeuser boardroom. So it's very official, it's a great opportunity to, share your work, share what you have done, present your writing, or like explain the art that you have submitted. There's food, drinks. It's kind of a great celebratory time. So yeah, it's a really great thing to get involved in. I've absolutely loved my time in Chanter. I've both had works published and I've worked on the staff and board. So yeah, if you're interested in art and writing, I highly recommend getting involved.
Thank you so much, Maya. That's a really awesome look into Chanter and just kind of the wide range of things that you can do and be involved in. And I think it's a really good point to say that, clubs are such a great opportunity to get involved in things that you're interested in, but that you might not have access to through your major. And I know that a lot of people feel that way about what they do in their clubs. And I know that ends up being a really awesome outlet for people. In some cases, people are in clubs that have to do directly with their major and sort of their interest in their academic area. And for an example of that, I will pass the baton to Chloe to talk a little bit about GeoClub.
Hi, yeah. So I am Chloe. I use pronouns she, her, hers. And I am a rising senior geology major. I'm also in the Macalester concert choir, but I really like geology a lot, so I'm also a co-leader of the GeoClub. So what GeoClub is, it's an academic org focused on community, basically, in the geology department. That's one of our aims, is to create a community between the majors, minors, and also other friends interested in rocks and fossils and the outdoors. We have, just any interest at all. You don't have to be a major, but and so what do we do? We have a few events every year. We have movie nights where we watch geohazard films and we talk about how ridiculous they are or how actually accurate some of them are, which is exciting. We go to the Minnesota Science Museum once a year together, and we get to go behind the scenes and go into the depths of the museum and look at their collections, because one of the staff of the geology department is friends with the curator at the Science Museum. We also have 2 barbecues a year with the geology department outside of Olin Rice, our science building. And then we also connect people with volunteer opportunities with teaching. And I did Fossil Day at the Science Museum a couple years ago, where you sit at a table and you get to show kids fossils like this one. It's a trilobite. And then we have talk of doing camping trips. I don't know how that would look like this year yet, but other things we do like on a weekly basis, we meet in one of the classrooms of the geology department, and there are presentations that members give to tell the other students like about how you can be active in the geology community. So we talk about volunteer opportunities we've done. We do connections with alums. And so I've given a presentation on my study away experience. And then also my fieldwork experience, because I went to Montana and Wyoming and dug some dinosaurs. So we do like presentations with pictures, and we bring snacks there's a bakery nearby on campus, near to campus, called Breadsmith, and we always get Breadsmith, and we just sit and talk about geology. Yeah, so you don't have to be super committed to GeoClub. All you have to do is sign up for the email list, and you can show up whenever you want. You don't have to show up to the weekly meetings, and you can still come to the events. We're really laid back with commitment. I'm not sure what GeoClub will look like in the pandemic. It really depends on what the classrooms look like and how many people want to attend our meetings this year. We might do meetings outside, and yeah, I really am not certain about that. Leadership positions, there are usually 2 or 3 co-leaders, and it's also, again, really laid back. We usually have one upperclassman and at least one underclassman as leaders, so that the transition between years is easier. So we teach the underclassmen what to do, and as one of the co-leaders of GeoClub, and they can pass it to the next years. Yeah, it's super easy to get involved. All you have to do is sign up for the email list, and there are snacks, so it's good.
I would say snacks are like one of college orgs in general, like main selling points. It's almost any group of people that you join, there is a food component involved, which is extremely exciting for college students. So of all of these lovely presentations, know that you will probably be fed no matter what extracurricular activity you choose to participate in. Although I'm not sure about the fall, but when we go back to normal, you'll be fed. And I will pass off the baton to Carly to talk about our last org represented today, which is Sunrise.
Awesome. Thanks, Morgan. My name's Carly. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a member of Sunrise Twin Cities, specifically the St. Paul Hub. I'm a junior educational studies and English literature major, and this is my 2nd year of Sunrise. So Sunrise Twin Cities is a local hub of the national Sunrise movement. So Sunrise is a youth-led movement specifically to stop climate change and create green jobs and a livable future. So our hub works specifically on Minnesota climate issues, such as stopping the Line 3 pipeline in northern Minnesota, electing Minnesota Green New Deal champions, and utilizing our location at the Capitol to demand a Green New Deal from our legislators. So I fell into Sunrise kind of as a transfer student last year, and I had never really organized before. And I had only been part of organizations that felt like a chore at my previous college. And, you know, by the end of the academic year, everyone would just burn out. And organizing for climate justice, you know, we're even more susceptible to that because we have the whole fossil fuel industry pitted against us, and we have all these politicians backed by fossil fuel money. And so it's so easy to just get defeated, right, and just stop organizing. But in Sunrise, I found a lot of joy and community, which meant a lot to me as a transfer student coming in and not knowing anyone. And it's just so, so crucial in organizing to find that joy and the resistance and joy in a community that gives a damn, you know? It's just been really, really motivating for me. And what I love about Sunrise is that we are committed to environmental justice and a just transition to a green economy. And that means that we work with the movement for Black Lives, Indigenous movements, COBAL, and other union organizations, unions. And because we know that environmental degradation only exists because certain communities have been deemed disposable, right? Racism, settler colonialism, capitalism, these have all contributed and created climate change. So we have to exist as a multiracial coalition and center BIPOC lives and the working class in our movement. We really just have to show up for each other, and that's such an integral part of our work. I also love that in Sunrise we're really horizontally organized, which is why I didn't really give you like a title, because we're all just members, right? We strive to maintain a non-hierarchical organization, and so there's so many leadership opportunities. A principle of Sunrise is that you don't have to ask permission to plan something. You just have a network of folks to support you on initiatives you want to take. So say you want to host a virtual screening of a new documentary somehow related to our work. You can just do that, right? You don't have to like ask a president or like any member for like permission. You just like reach out in like our communication, we use Slack, and we can just support you on that. And another thing I love is that we're a Twin Cities wide hub. So you'll work with working folks, folks from Hamlin, St. Thomas, St. Kate's, the U of M, retired teachers. We are a youth-led movement, but we welcome folks of all ages. And right now we really need artists. And we need scientists, graphic designers, musicians, educators, public speakers, writers, like really whatever you have to bring to the table, like you are so welcome, and we will just try to utilize your strengths and your interests and your passions. So yeah, what does it mean to participate? Right now as a hub, we are meeting remotely and bi-weekly. We have continued meeting throughout the summer. And commitment is really whatever you want it to be. We have core members who commit to planning meetings and basically just devoting more time and facilitating things. And we have folks who maybe hop in once every few months or just attend actions. And really any commitment is valuable. And we just like really cherish all of our members and like what they can bring. Obviously we want more commitment, right, to spread the workload, but we also want to avoid burnout because organizing is hard work. And it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. So in the pandemic right now, our main projects are working on elections remotely. We're phone banking for Green New Deal champions in Minnesota and nationally. We're creating educational resources for our social media, which you can check out on our Instagram, which I'll drop in the chat later. And we're also showing up safely for protests against police brutality across the Twin Cities, for those of us who are able to do so. And we're also just connecting with each other to maintain community and momentum when we can't meet face to face. So to get involved, I actually have a little Google form that I'll drop in the chat in a minute here. Or you can just send me an email. My name's Carly, Sibanusa at Macalester. Or you can follow us on Instagram and just send a DM. So really anyway, you can get in contact with us, and I would love to sit and chat more with you about what brings you to our movement.
Awesome. Thank you, Carly, so much. I had put your Google form and your email in there, so anybody who's attending right now can definitely feel free to send Carly an email.
Thanks.
You have some really amazing student-led coalitions at Macalester that have organized specifically around climate change and the impact of fossil fuels, and just the student work and how much like dedication and passion there is really inspiring. And I think that it just is another example of, you know, the ways in which clubs provide community. They don't just provide community around a shared interest, but they also provide community around action. And I think that, you know, we're so lucky to have this wide breadth of clubs where you can do things, you know, that you enjoy, like geology. You can do things that you enjoy, like a cappella, And you can also do things that you enjoy that have, you know, specific action movements attached to them. So I think it's just kind of amazing, like the wide variety of things that you can get involved in. And if you ask anybody, they're probably involved in more than one club, and they probably would like never be able to pick between the two, because people are just so passionate about what they're doing. And, you know, we need these action movements just as much as we need the things that we do for pleasure, and vice versa. So I'm just always amazed by the variety of clubs and just how much dedication people show to them. We don't have a huge live audience with us, so I don't think that we're going to have any initial questions. But when we post this recording, I'll post it with, you know, all the links and information that we've talked about here, so you can look at Chanter, you can look at the Mac Weekly, you can, you know, figure out about getting involved in Sunrise. And I just want to take a second to thank all of our amazing panel participants. You guys were all wonderful. And this is but a small sampling of the incredible power of student leadership at Macalester. And, you know, think of this as like a little bit of a peek into an open door, and behind it are just so many more students who are like way jazzed about their clubs and can't wait to convince you to be jazzed too. So again, thank you everybody for participating. I hope everyone is staying cool. And you will hear from your orientation team about another Orientation Plus session in the not too distant future. So thank you again, everybody, and have a great afternoon.
Thank you.